Yo, welcome back to the Knicks Cave. I'm Jan, a Knick fan, your host, and let's get right into it. But before we get into it, I want you to do me one small favor. I want you to hit that like button. I definitely want you to subscribe and leave a comment. You want to know when the next video going to drop, hit the notification bell. Now let's get into this video. The New York Knicks crush. When I say crush, they crushed the Toronto Raptors. What you expect? This team is really heading towards the lottery. They was missing key players due to injuries, and I'm not going to speculate, but some players just set out. They didn't want the smoke. You heard what I said. They did not want the smoke. They did not want to be embarrassed by their previous team. Like I said, I'm not going to mention no names. Y'all can put it together for yourself. But the New York Knicks go into Toronto and do what they supposed to do. Walk away with another victory. When I say walk away, I meant to say run away. Run away with another victory. Dominating, destroying, sending the Raptors fans home early. You heard what I said. Home early. Let's get into this video a little further. You see the dominant performance of the game. You have my man Deuce Mcbride with another spectacular performance. In my opinion, main reason why they didn't any sweat coming off the forehead of the Knicks management when they decided to make the trade Emmanuel quickly. Now I know some of you have heard me praise this man in the past. Yes, you have. And I will still give Emmanuel quickly his due. But for the New York Knicks to be the team that we want them to be, you had to go, bro. Honestly, you had to go. I really didn't see you fitting in Tibbs' system, Emmanuel quickly. And hit me in the comments if y'all think I'm wrong, but let me explain myself. Quickly, what can I say about Quickly? Quickly, I'm not saying he's a selfish player, but he's a guy that's looking for the spotlight. And that's what Tibbs don't want in his players. He want production. He don't want that guy to go out there and, what you want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? High maintenance. He want that lunch pail guy, the guy that's gonna come to work every day, ready to do the necessary job, meaning dirty things, ready to get down and gritty. And Mcbride is that player. Right now, I'm talking about Mcbride, but let's get into this game real quick so I can talk about Mcbride. As I said, the New York Knicks dominated the Toronto Raptors in every category. As you check out the stats right there, the Knicks came into their house and made it their house. I mean, yes, they were shorthanded, and once again, players decided not to play. Some had legitimate reasons, and that's, like I said again, I'm not going to speculate, but some players did not want to get embarrassed. They saw it coming before it happened. In my opinion, they saw what was going to happen before the game was even played, so they decided to sit out. New York Knicks shot very well from the floor last night. 3-point shooting in the first quarter was almost perfect, led by my man Deuce Mcbride. I'm gonna reference to him quite a bit throughout this video, but when I get to him, we're gonna get to him. As you see the stats right there, the New York Knicks dominated. Like I said, dominated the game. Field goal percentage 58%, shooting 55 from 94. 3-pointers, 22 for 44, 50%. When the last time the Knicks shot 50% from downtown as a team? I mean, the Knicks came out and they see what's ahead of them. And I'm going to get to that in a minute as well. They see what's ahead of them. Right now, we stand alone. You know what I'm saying? We stand alone in that third spot. You know what I'm saying? In that third spot. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Just look at these rest of these stats. I want y'all to see how the New York Knicks dominated. Turnovers, one of the fewest turnovers game in this season, 11 turnovers. I said the New York Knicks came out and they really did their thing against this team. They looked ahead, like trying to get in a position where they're going to meet these teams that in the first round we supposed to just knock out. And I want that. Because in my last video, I told y'all I was afraid of the Magic. I'm not going to lie, Magic scared me. You know what I'm saying? No other team in the Eastern Conference scared me more than Orlando Magic. Reason being, they beat us. We haven't beat them this year. You know what I'm saying? And even in games when we look like we was about to overcome that loss, they just somehow pull out the victory. And that was with Julius Randle. So like I said, I'm going to say it again. That's That's my that's my biggest fear. Playoffs is Orlando Magic. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, y'all let me know. But let's get back to them standings. Like I was saying, the New York Knicks holding the third spot in the East by themselves. One game in front of the Cavs. Excuse me, a half game in front of the Cavs. 2 games in front of the Magic. 2 games behind the Bucks, and we right there, baby. That's what I mean. As long as they keep doing what they're supposed to do when they meet these inferior teams, that's why you heard what I said. Inferior teams. When we come out and play these teams that's under 500, once again, we dominate. Now with this win right here, the New York Knicks is actually 26-2 against teams that's under 500. You know what I'm saying? And let's just look at the schedule to see how can we catch the Bucks, because it's possible, but it's going to take a little doing. When I say a little doing, I mean a little bit of the NBA guards, because the Bucks schedule is a little bit sweet right now compared to the Knicks is sweet too, but that's what's going to give us a run right there, in my opinion. Now you check out the Knicks schedule. We just knocked off the Toronto Raptors. Tomorrow night we will be playing the Spurs. Then we got the Thunder. That might be a shaky game, but I think we can take that game right there. Then we got the Heat, a payback game. You know what I'm saying? A payback game, in my opinion. The Kings, we beat them once already. The Bulls, I think we could take that game. Then we play the Bucks. Then we got the Bulls again. It's kind of hard to beat a team twice, but the New York Knicks have done it. So I'm not going to say I don't want to overlook the Bulls, but that should be 3 wins right there. Then we meet Boston. And then what I'm so encouraged about this game, because we just might have either Julius Randle back or Anunoby. But right now, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, no setbacks, we will have Mitchell Robinson back. So with that being said, we're going to have 2 of our big men, 2 productive big men to throw at Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? With guys that keep the paint clean. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Robinson's going to keep that paint clean. Right now, he's coming off the bench. I'm going to get to it. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different segment. But as we look at this schedule, as a New York Knicks schedule, we can catch the Bucks. And as we catching the Bucks, we can just pull away from the Cavaliers. Let's check out what they got next. Now, you see the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their next game, they got the Jazz. They got the Suns. Excuse me. Tomorrow, they play the 76ers. Then they got the Nuggets. I don't think they can beat the Sixers, and I don't think they can beat the Nuggets. So right there, they're going to be falling right behind us, in my opinion. That's going to give the Knicks a little cushion. Then they got the Jazz, they got the Suns, the Lakers. The Lakers are starting to make a push. You know what I'm saying? You know what LeBron do about this time of the year. He gets serious. Then you got the Clippers. Clippers is looking real good. Grizzlies, that should be a win for them. But then you got the Pacers. That's going to be a little fight. And then the Hornets should be an easy win for the Cavs. Now, let's slide over there next and let's check out what the Orlando Magic, because they're right there, too. They're in the chase. They right there behind us. Their next game, they got the Clippers. See, them with the Magic, they're so, I'm not saying they're a mediocre team, but they're one step away from being contenders, in my opinion. Get that one piece, and they're gonna be giving teams trouble on a nightly basis, because they already are. So you look at their schedule. I don't want to root them out, but the Clippers, that might be a good game. The Grizzlies, I see them taking the game against the Grizzlies. The Trailblazers, I see them knocking off the Blazers. The Pelicans is really rolling. Zion is starting to pick it up, starting to turn some doubts, starting to make people into believers. Then you got the Hornets. That's another game they should win. The Bulls, they should win that game. The Rockets, I don't know. 10 games straight right now. The Rockets are really looking good right now. The Knicks caught them at the perfect time, because the Rockets is really looking good right now. So I don't know with that game right there. We'll see. Then they got the Bucks. It's going to be another fight, because, like I said, you cannot sleep on the Orlando Magic. Then you got 76ers, and they end the season with the Bucks. Now, let's just check out the Bucks schedule while we're talking about them. Tonight, they play the Pelicans. The Bucks, they are a good team. I'm not going to try to just roll past them. They got Antetokounmpo. They got my man Dame Dash. That's why I call him Dame Dash. And they got a very good cast of role players to go along with them 2 superstars. So you cannot overlook them. But they got the Pelicans tonight, and that's going to be a hard-fought game. The Hawks, they've been stunning people every now and then. They know they're a Trey-less team without Trey. But then you move down to Washington. That should be a win. That's Grizzly. That should be a win. The Raptors, that should be a win. Then the Knicks, we're going to be doing it. You know what I'm saying? But by then, them wins, they might just have pull away depending on what the New York Knicks do. If the Knicks take care of business and knock off the team they're supposed to and surprise a couple of teams, then we should be right there fighting for that number 2 spot, in my opinion. And if some teams was to surprise the Bucks, who knows? We can slide right into that second position. That's just my opinion. Then right after that, they got Boston. Then they got Magic. And like I said, Magic is, a team that you cannot sleep on. I don't care who you are in the Eastern Conference. You cannot sleep on the Orlando Magic. Then you got the Thunder, another young team that's rolling over there in the West. They keep going back and forth for that number 1 position. And then they finish it off with the Magic. And once again, as I stress, you cannot sleep on the Magic. So after this spectacular win, the New York Knicks is going to have their hands, I'm not going to say full, but if they go out and take care of business, we should be straight going into the playoffs. Now let's get into this video real quick and talk about the men of the hour. But return of Mitchell Robinson, I know everybody already know that. Y'all watched the game and it been all over social media. Big Mitch is back, come out. And what I'm going to say about Big Mitch's game tonight, he didn't play a lot of minutes, only 12 minutes. He had 2 blocks, 3 field goals, 8 points. But in the amount of time that he played, that was a perfect game to me. He came out, showed that, Russ is still there, but he showed how effective that he will be once he get back and how he will protect that paint. And coming off the bench, now that's the thing about it. We can't mess with the flow. I know a lot of y'all wanted this, Mitch back, get him in the starting unit. We can't mess with the flow. Having Mitch come off the bench, and I'm going to give you a little bit my philosophy towards the New York Knicks going through the rest of the season and how we should work this rotation. He should continue to come off the bench. And I mean that because, as I just said, he had a perfect night for a first night coming back. It didn't look like he struggled much. It looked like he wanted to prove that he can be just as offensive as Hartenstein has been. He came to work. He came to work, and he came to show Tibbs that he wants to stay in this rotation, which, like I said, I'll give you a little bit of my analogy of this rotation of how it should work. Tibbs should have to go to a 10-man. I know he's been working at 8-man, sometimes 7-man. That was because of the injuries and what we had to work with. But right now, with Big Mitch back, 10-man rotation will work perfect. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm saying 10-man, I'm expecting Julius Randle and Adam Noble to be back. Now, that starting unit, that's right. When I talk about the starting unit, I cannot leave out this man right here. Miles, Deuce, Mcbride. You heard what I said. I cannot leave out this man right here because when I think about the starting unit, I definitely would like to see Miles McBride in that starting unit throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, because it makes the Knicks better, in my opinion. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, but here I'm going to give you my analogy and why I think so. All right. I know a lot of y'all, and I will be comfortable with Dante DiVincenzo coming off starting, but why I would rather have Miles McBride starting because the defense, let's face it, the defense is there. And not only is the defense, he's a real good 3-point shooter. He's better than what a lot of y'all expected. I'm not gonna try to pat my own back and say I knew this, but I've been talking about this kid since we drafted him. Matter of fact, I predicted we would draft him. You can go back and watch a video. I should put that up in the link, but you can go through my page, go back and check the video 2 years ago. I predicted that we would draft this kid, and I've been very high on him ever since. So for the Knicks to keep him into the rotation, this is what I mean by my analogy, right? Let's face it, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real with ourselves. Jalen Brunson is a hell of a defensive player. Sometimes he look a little overwhelmed. Jalen Brunson, that is, excuse me. But with McBride in the starting unit, McBride is a hell of a defensive player. Not only that, he's an offensive threat. You know what I'm saying? And this is my beef with Tibbs, how he sometimes just waiting, like, it have to be brought in. Now, even with the Emmanuel Quickly situation, how he just risen like the phoenix. You know what I'm saying? It just they got to prove themselves. But in my opinion, if you're a coach, you should be seeing this in practice. And I'm gonna just back off because I said it before and I'm gonna say it again. I'm not gonna go against my man Tibbs, where Tibbs got us at right now. So we cannot talk about Tibbs in any negative light. But I do have my cons and my peeves with Tibbs and how he used the guys and how he used the talent. This is why I'm talking about that 10-man rotation. Because with him in the starting unit, then you got Hartenstein, then you got Randall back. Then you got Anunoby, and you know Anunoby is very, 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 very well defensive minded and a very good defensive player. And he's going to be in the right spot. He make plays that don't even show up on the stat sheet. So let's be real with that. So we have these two guys playing alongside one another in the rest of the season starting unit. That should be a real good defensive core right there with Isaiah Hartenstein, Jalen Brunson, Anunoby, Miles McBride, and I know y'all hear me bringing in Julius Randle in on last because sometimes Julius Randle has them defensive laps, but he's not a slouch on defense at all. So with that starting unit, look out, Boston. I'm gonna be real. Look out, Boston. You know what I'm saying? We can match up with Boston with that starting unit, in my opinion. Hit me in the comments and tell me what y'all think. With that starting unit of Miles McBride, Jalen Brunson, Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, I think we can match up with Boston. And then when you start looking at the bench, come on. Then you got Dante Dumvicizo coming off. I'll be killing his last name. Josh Hart, Achua, Mitchell Robinson. Come on. Achua and Mitchell Robinson, they're going to hold the backcourt down. Then you got Dante. You know, then you got, come on, I know a lot of people, now this is a reason we're going to be resting Burks in this scenario. Burks is not touching the floor unless he had to. But come on, y'all like to call him Bogey. I like to say this, call him Bogdanovich. I don't like that name, Bogey. But Bogey be giving us points. Look at the game he had tonight. Let's check out his stats tonight. Excuse me for a second. Bogdanovich, he had 18 points tonight in 16 minutes. He's starting to find himself in this offense, get his rhythm. In my opinion, yeah, that's the second unit. You got Mitchell Robinson, Achua, Josh Hart. He can slide into that small forward, stop playing the power forward. Then you got Dante at the shooting guard, and then you got. Well, excuse me. Hold on. Let's back up. All right, there you got it. That second unit would consist of Mitchell Robinson, backup center, Precious Achua, backup power forward. And a lot of y'all y'all don't like my man. I don't, you know what I'm saying? When I say don't like, y'all don't like the trade, but I think Bogdanovich would fit right in there. Then you got Josh Hart, and then we can just have Dante being our point guard. Because like I said, Burks is not in this scenario. Burks is out. Burks is sitting on the bench. Burks is about to be keeping Jericho Sims company. You hear me? He about to be keeping Sims company. We will be using you, we be using y'all if it comes down to it. And we hope it don't come down to it. But the thing about it, especially with Sims, we know we're going to get from Sims. And Burks can be a little spark every now and then. But right now, in my opinion, I know in some of y'all's, we would be perfectly happy having Burks sitting on the bench and running with that rotation on the second unit, as I just mentioned. That is Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achua, Bogdanovich, Josh Hart, and then Dante leading that pack. And then you know they're going to have to respect Dante because he can start hitting the three while he bringing the ball up. With this second unit, I think the New York Knicks would go real far. Matter of fact, deep. I think we would be that threat. As I said, I'm not worried. I would not be worried about Boston with this rotation, this 10-man rotation, because we'll have Hartenstein. He's going to wear Porzingis out. You know what I'm saying? Hartenstein's a big man that like to move. And then when Mitchell Robinson come in, them other bigs is not going to be able to handle Mitchell Robinson. And as I said earlier in the video, Mitchell Robinson is looking like he's want to prove that he can be more offensive-minded, or he's a more offensive threat than people believe he is. So right now, the Knicks is about to, the Knicks is about to just go crazy. I know this was a lottery team, and they're heading downhill. They didn't have key players, Barnes out, Barrett out, Emmanuel quickly. They sat on the bench. But the Knicks is about to dominate the playoffs. I don't care what nobody say. This is about to be a crazy year in the city. All them New York Knicks haters, all the people that when you go to work and they be like, "Oh, yo, you still a New York Knicks fan?" They about to be wearing New York Knicks shirts and hats. You're gonna sit back and you're just gonna look at these guys and laugh. That's just my opinion, because that's what I do. For all them cats that always be talking crap about the New York Knicks all season long or in the past years, you know what I'm saying? You've been hearing the chatter. When we do what we do this year in the playoffs, you're gonna start seeing a whole lot of blue and orange walking around the city. I'm gonna like it, but it's gonna be what's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna be a little disdain with it because I know y'all not real fans. All right. And with that being said, I want everybody to stay safe, stay healthy, God bless, and peace.